Last week, I was spending some time with two government officials from Canada. And I asked them how realistic is it that Canada would be the 51st state. Yeah. And they told me there is a cap. Alberta is first, and if they sign on, Saskatchewan would follow, and then you go west to British Columbia. There is a movement in Canada to join us. I want to get your thoughts on that and how that's received.
So it's true. Thank you, Brian. It's true. A lot of people in Canada are liking becoming our beautiful, cherished 51st state. They'll have to pay much lower taxes. They'll have the ultimate security. You know, they don't pay very much for security right now because they rely on us, which is really unfair to us. They make cars that we could make, and they send them back into the United States. They make a lot of things, including the sending of oil and everything. We don't need their oil. We don't need their lumber.
Put Alberta and Saskatchewan together, and you have the strongest wave of Western separatism Canada has seen in decades. The question many Canadians are asking is simple. Is Western Canada actually considering leaving the country?
2, 3. Again. Again. One more time.
To understand the answer, we need to look at how deeply the frustration runs. Both provinces see themselves as vital to Canada's economic success. Alberta powers energy, Saskatchewan powers agriculture and mining. Yet, many residents feel disrespected, misunderstood, and underrepresented. But the most important factor today is political coordination. Alberta First and Saskatchewan First aren't isolated movements. They are increasingly aligned, strategically and ideologically. Leaders in both provinces share similar messaging, similar goals, and similar criticisms of Ottawa's approach to the prairies. So what will separation even look like?
What do you think is important to you in Alberta right now?
I think probably the biggest issue for me, and there are many, many issues, but I think this idea that Alberta should go it alone is huge.
Right.
We're Canadian. We are Canadian and Canadian first. And I think the talk of Alberta separating from the country is so harmful and so dangerous and really so ridiculous.
I know from my own perspective, separatism is bad business. And it's also bad because I'm a proud Canadian. This country's been great to me. And I don't want to split us up. We have our issues. We should discuss them as adults. And especially to talk about it right now when Trump is trying to destroy us.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's really harmful.
It wouldn't happen overnight. It would require negotiations, constitutional changes, referendums, and political cooperation. But here's what's new. The idea no longer feels impossible to many people. It feels like a real option, especially if tensions with Ottawa continue to rise. That said, most experts agree that full independence remains unlikely in the near term. What is far more realistic is a push for maximum autonomy, control over pensions, policing, taxation, immigration, and natural resources. In many ways, Alberta and Saskatchewan are already moving in this direction. Whether they stay in Canada or move towards independence, one thing is clear. The political center of gravity in the prairies is shifting. Alberta and Saskatchewan are not merely asking for change. They are demanding it, and the rest of Canada will eventually have to decide how to respond. Western separatism isn't just a political trend. It's a reflection of deep, long-standing frustration that can no longer be ignored.
The new Prime Minister is a whole new level of climate zealot and eco-extremist. From his decades-long push for net zero banking that sought to make it impossible for banks to invest in oil and gas, to his promise now to massively increase carbon taxes on our industry, make no mistake, he wants to eviscerate our oil and gas industry. It's right in his book. In Canada, our national identity, unity, our freedom, and our future are at a monumental crossroads.
Been following Canadian politics lately, you've probably noticed a sharp rise in the phrase Alberta First. But what does it mean, and why are more Albertans talking openly about separating from Canada? At the heart of this movement is a feeling that Alberta is carrying more than its share while getting less in return. For decades, many Albertans have argued that the province's huge contribution to Canada's economy, especially through oil and gas, comes with very little respect from Ottawa. This frustration grew during years of federal policies targeting emissions, pipelines, and resource development. Add that to the equalization debate. Alberta has long been one of the biggest contributors to equalization, but receives nothing back. In many people's minds, it feels like the province is constantly paying into a national pot while being punished for having a strong energy sector. When you combine economic frustrations with political tensions, it creates a perfect environment for separation talk. Alberta First takes this a step further. Supporters argue Alberta should control immigration, policing, pensions, and its tax system. Some want more autonomy within Canada. Others want full independence. For many, this is no longer just a protest, it's a serious consideration. What pushed things over the edge recently is a belief that Ottawa and Alberta simply don't share the same priorities anymore. Whether it's environmental regulations, energy transition timelines, or national policy direction, Alberta feels increasingly out of sync with federal decisions. To be clear, not every Albertan wants to leave Canada, but the number is growing, and conversations used to be fringe and now mainstream. Alberta First isn't only a political slogan, it's a sign of deep frustration that's been building for years. And as we'll see next, Alberta isn't alone.
Would you vote to leave? Would you vote to stay? It is my job to put a question to the people of Saskatchewan. If people in Saskatchewan trigger the legislation for a plebiscite, it's the job of the government then to formulate a question for the people of Saskatchewan. Now, you're getting way over your skis with respect to what that process might be or what that process might entail.
Can you not say, or should you not say, that under no circumstances will we ever support separation? That's the question I think a lot of people are wondering about, is why not just simply say that?
Listen, what the discussion today is about a path to whatever that discussion might be.
While Alberta tends to get most of the attention, Saskatchewan's separatist movement has been quietly gaining momentum, and in some areas, moving even faster than Alberta's. The phrase Saskatchewan First has become part of everyday political conversation, and the reasons behind it echo what we're seeing in its western neighbor. Just like Alberta, Saskatchewan is a resource-driven province. It relies heavily on agriculture, potash, mining, and energy. Unlike Alberta, it's frustrated with federal policies that limit or complicate development in these sectors. Many residents feel Ottawa doesn't understand rural economies or the prairies more broadly. One major spark was the federal carbon tax. Saskatchewan fought it all the way to the Supreme Court and lost. For many people in the province, this wasn't just a policy disagreement. It felt like a symbol of Ottawa imposing rules with no understanding of local realities. Another frustration is federal influence over natural resources. Saskatchewan believes it could grow its economy more effectively without what it sees as federal overreach. The province has even passed new legislation asserting its exclusive right to develop its own resources. That's a political move that edges closer to the autonomy and sovereignty language often heard in separation debates. But here's the key point. Saskatchewan politicians have been much more coordinated with Alberta than ever before. You can see it in joint announcements, shared messaging, and increasing political alignment. The two provinces see themselves as the economic engine of the West, and both feel underappreciated nationally. For Saskatchewan First supporters, the movement isn't just about economics, it's about cultural and political identity. Many feel the prairies are treated like an afterthought in national decision making, whether it's agricultural regulations, energy policies, or infrastructure investment. Saskatchewan sees a pattern: decisions made in Ottawa without prairie input. While full independence is still a minority viewpoint, support for increased autonomy is at an all-time high. And with Alberta leading the charge, Saskatchewan's separatist sentiment is no longer hypothetical. It's part of the national conversation.